Well, still working on the turbo switch here. I think we're on the third version, 3B, something like that. Who knows? Still functions okay and everything. I was getting ready to dismantle everything and start getting it rigged up on the cart. But I noticed that our 24-volt solenoids are getting really hot during testing. You know, I had them clamped down with the vice grips to turn on the two 24-volt solenoids, and I was doing a lot of our testing. Like I said, I noticed the two solenoids are getting really hot. So that makes the 24 volts work. And there's turbo. Everything still functions normally. Like I said, I just noticed that the two solenoids are getting really hot. So I'm thinking maybe we need like 100% or constant duty solenoids, or these may be more like an intermittent duty solenoid. And then another idea or thing I was thinking was when we did our first third turbo switch 3 run through just these, and then we burn out both of the power sides, but the ground side seemed to be okay. So maybe we were just running 24 volts through one of these and 36 volts through one of these, burned them out, but it's functional for a ground break. So I'm going to try maybe doing a hybrid switch with just two solenoids for the positive circuit, 24 volts and 36 volts, and then two switches for the negative two circuits. And we can mount them in our brackets here, and maybe it'll simplify the setup a little bit where we only have two solenoids instead of four. We'll give it a try, see what happens. At least we'll know. Well, I got our hybrid switch, so to speak, wired up. Only the two solenoids, the positive 24 volts and 36 volts, are hooked up. The negative side is not hooked up to the controller or hooked up to the battery. I've got the ground from the battery coming to our 36 volt side switch, and then the red here, which isn't proper but goes to the motor. And then this is our 24 volt negative side. This one also goes to the motor, just like this other red one right here. And then the ground off of this one, or the ground in to this switch, comes from the speed controller. Right underneath there. Get our vice grips again. Try not to leave it hooked up too much to get these solenoids too awful hot, but shit. Okay, we got our clamp down, so our 24 volts is on. And then now, if you was to click on turbo, we are running at 36 volts turbo speed. And our ground is running through this switch. This switch is only powering this solenoid right here, the 36 volt side solenoid. Just a quick test. 24 volt solenoid is not warm. 36 volt solenoid is not warm. 24 volt ground and wires are not warm. 24 volt positive wires are not warm. 36 volt positive wires are not warm, or the switch, and 36 volts negative is not warm. And let's just try this again just to make sure we don't have no little puff of smoke. Let's put our clamp on here again. Hear it click in. We hit our... So as far as I could see, we could zip along like this all day. The only concern is that solenoid getting warm. And like I said, you want to kick in overdrive or turbo. You kick that off. We are zipping right along. Now, since we've been doing all this overvolting, basically, I don't smell anything. There's no heat whatsoever, even on the back or in the center. We didn't have it going for a long periods of time, but everything seems to be room temperature. I'm going to try it one more time. Clamp, turn on 24 volts. Kick on turbo. So when we move the lever over, this switch contacts the ground circuit. This switch turns on this solenoid, which contacts the power circuit. When it's down here, this switch contacts the ground circuit for the 24 volt side. And this switch is the power circuit that turns on the solenoid that makes the contact for the 24 volt side. 24 volts, 36 volts. Well, cool. We reduced it down from 4 solenoids to 2. Well, let's get her all tore apart and see if we can make it work on in a cart. Alright, I got most of the L Turbo 3 switch dismantled and getting her all tidied up. This is the switch that we was using to actually run the solenoids. And this is our L Turbo switch in the beginning. A lot bigger footprint or setup. This is easy to mount on the handlebar of the cart. This is a big old monstrosity. So I need some of these little micro switches like this. Let's see if I can put it in here. It's a little dinky switch. So I think I can get 2 or 4 of them right in this area, and then back to a little smaller footprint. So I'm going to round up some of these little micro switches, and then we'll get this show on the road.